program tracing is a way to log and keep track of information. This is primarily used in text-based coding, but it can still be done in block-based, and I'll go over on how to do so. Now, what is a bug? Well, it is known as an error that can be found in your computer program that will cause for the wrong execution to occur, and in some situations, no execution to occur at all. Now, another way to think of a bug is by thinking of a typo. If you're writing a short story, and as you're typing it, you misspelled a word, you have a bug. You have to go back in, you have to correct that spelling to then be able to read everything eligibly. In debugging mode, it is known as the process of removing potential errors within that code that will affect the flow of control as you execute the completed code. So we're going to go over to make code. We're going to look at a code that has been already pre-written out, and we're going to go into debugging mode and program tracing as well. Here I have a small game of heads or tails. I'll actually go ahead and write out the word here, heads, tails, so it can be seen. Okay, so on start, we have created a variable named toss, and toss has been set to pick random from 0 or 1. So 0 being heads, 1 being tails, right? So if the microbit is shaken, it's going to figure out if it's going to pick at random a 0 or a 1, and it will execute and show on the screen one of these two strings. So let's go ahead and run it. I'm going to shake it. Okay, so it shows tails. We see tails there. The reason why it was tails is because toss equaled 1. Okay, I'm going to run it again. I'm going to refresh. Okay, again, toss equals 1. So one of the ways that we can look at program tracing is that we can leave comments. So when we right click, we normally use the right click feature to duplicate, but now we're going to go ahead and click on that remove comment that I had previously, and I'll add that comment again. So in there, the comment that I previously had was change heads to H for short execution. Okay, so I can have this comment here, and a comment will later on allow me to come back and see how I was keeping track of my code. Now here, because it's something so simple as a note to myself, it may not be recognized as tracing, but indeed it is. Okay, and you can see here how I have a small text box letting me know that I have a comment there. Here I have one as well. When I click on it, it says change to T for short response. Okay, and we're going to hide that, get that out of the way. Or if I wanted to, I can leave it right here, move my block to the side and do something like that. Okay, so I know that this is an option and this is a note for myself for program tracing, right? Now let's head into debugging mode and see what that's all about. So here we have the bug. When I click on it, notice how the top bar is automatically orange and in big letters right here says debug mode. All your programs or all the blocks to add to your program have been removed, right? So here we can click this, but it's not going to be taken apart. If I try to remove the show string, I can't, right? So I'm going to reset everything. I'm going to move this. I'm going to actually hide it so it's not in the way, and reset everything. So when we have a variable, it's going to show us what the variable outcome would be right here. So I'm going to shake. Okay, we have heads. I'm going to pause that execution. So it says toss 0, meaning that because the variable, when it's at 0, it's going to execute heads. That's what was just occurring. That's what was executed. It's letting us know that the toss variable was that. If we were using more from, let's say, 0 to 5, and we had heads, tails, and additional examples, it would say whatever number it would execute. So here, let's try this again. Let's see if we can get a tails. Perfect. Tails, I'm going to pause it, and our toss is 1. So because if toss equals 0, it's heads. If toss equals 1, it would be tails. It is letting us know that the variable of toss 1 was what was just previously executed. Now I'm going to talk about something that can be done here. I can do a break. So a break means that when I click on these, you see the red circle that has been selected on these 2 blocks. Even if we get a variable of 0, we are not going to see this be displayed, even though the code is running, right? So I'm going to shake it. Okay, so toss equals 1, right? Toss equals 1. I'm going to play it again. Same thing. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that 0 is not an option. I am simply saying that if heads, so if toss equals 0, it just won't be presented on the screen itself, right? Reset this, clear this out, come over here. See, now we have heads. Because even if the variable is 1, it's not going to show us because there's been a break there. So it's kind of like making these 2 blocks invisible. Now, with debugging in block-based, you would have to have a lot much more variables to be able to see how debugging would additionally add to the running list and all the steps. But this gives you a general idea of how and what debugging can do for your code, the way that you can use a break to go a step-by-step reading of your code. And if you have any additional problems or comments that you want to add, you can just add them by right-clicking when you're in the editing version. See, right-click, add comment, debugging, can't do anything. See, no changes can be made. That's all for debugging.